Today we're here to take you through the design journey of three world famous designs in the design industry, where we'll discuss how different art movements, politics, culture, technology, and society influence designers and their design style over a period of time, and how a design or art piece influences society. Before we take you through our design journey, it's important to know what events unfolded before it, which take us back to World War II, which left a deep impact on people worldwide as people had to relocate, economies were shattered, and a lot of people were left homeless. The industrialization era came to people's rescue as it assured them of their job. Artists and designers across the world conveyed unique messages through their artwork and design, using war and industrialization as an inspiration. This period called for need of mass production, which was a key characteristic of modernism art movement. The designer during this movement saw the traditional art forms of art to be outdated and obsolete, and therefore worked on new forms of expression. Modernism was seen as a period of experimentation in several art forms. Architecture, which focused on simplicity and elegance, logic and reason were central values of modernism. Followed by modernism was the period of 1980s, the decade when two of its designs were invented. The 1980s is often remembered as a period of growing consumerism, materialism, political appeal, and a period of technological advancement with changes in people's lifestyle. Shopping malls were the new American church for the people. Society redefined the idea of status and income, which led to women entering the workforce. The world feared the growing rivalry between the two superpowers, the US and the USSR, amidst the Cold War. Taiwan ended its 38 years of martial law, and the world saw the growth of terrorist organizations like Al Qaeda. While different parts of the world were battling their unique set of challenges, the world grew in all aspects, be it technology, entertainment, science, or media. Personal computers like Macintosh were launched, cable networks started reaching every household, the internet was born, which supported the growth of pop culture and the media industry, making a strong influence on the people's lifestyle. The 1980s was very well known as the design decade in the design industry, where traditional art style and methods were no longer seen as a mandate, and individual art style, freedom of expression, or individualism was given much importance. This period is better known as the postmodernism art movement, which is identified from the 1970s to 1990s. Ettore Sottsass, an Italian architect and designer, was seen as a flag bearer of this movement, who came up with the approach of blending references to old art style. He brought bold colors and innovative contemporary style to everyday items, creating iconic postmodern furniture. Also regarded as the godfather of Italian design, he was exposed to the world of architecture since a young age, as his father himself was an architect. He took inspiration from a lot of sources, from different culture, from pop art, and even from his visit to India. Ettore Sottsass, with other young designers, established a group named the Memphis Group, which greatly influenced postmodernism, with an aim to challenge the relationship between manufacturers and customers, where the makers were led by consumer demand for standardized commodities, which was the culmination of mass machine production for mass market. His remarkable furniture piece, Carton Bookcase, is one such example of his approach well against modernism. With his design of the Carton Bookcase, Ettore Sottsass' aim was to free design from burden of modern movement, rather to rebel against the function modern style and minimalism. The Carton Bookcase is defined as a totem bookcase because of its anthropomorphic shape, reminiscent of a man with raised arms and spread legs. The Carton Bookcase is made up of simple assembled geometric shape characterized by bright and playful colors. That was Sottsass' aim to create a playful response to society's need for a solid piece of furniture. It was described by some as an object of disharmony because of its inconsistent colors and its mix of curved elements, orthogonal and oblique lines. The Carton Bookcase was made up of wood and covered with plastic laminates used by Memphis as a material without value, a criticism of consumerism. The base of the bookcase, also covered with plastic laminate, was printed with decorative theme bacteria. The popularity of the Carton Bookcase grew so much that it became a true icon of Italian design, and not only did it remain Within the sphere of furniture, it succeeded in imposing itself as a representative of an era in its development. In the late 1980s, design objects were seen as a significant indicators of one's wealth, status, and lifestyle, as there was a growing design consciousness amongst the people. People started appreciating and acknowledging complex and unconventional art forms in the design, which ranged from ludicrous to luxurious. Mark Newson's Lockheed Lounge is one such design from this period, a limited produced timeless piece from 1988. A layman may see it just as a silver L-shaped fluid formed shiny aluminium lounge chair, but it goes way beyond that. It is recorded as one of the most expensive chairs in the world and sold for a striking price of £2,434,500 at Philips Studio, London. Well, we are sure you would have the same question like any other spectator. Why so expensive, or what makes it so unique? Of course, the rarity and the scarcity of a similar looking product and the institutional validation attributes to its high cost and its groundbreaking design, which strongly challenges the traditional styles of 1980s furniture and its mindful method of riveting or welding the pieces of aluminium sheet after hammering in from fiberglass molds makes it so unique and different from others. Moreover, this design was not only well known among the elites but also among the general populace, and Madonna has a lot to do with it, as she was seen reclining on a Lockheed Lounge in one of her tracks in 1980s, a time when she had a strong social and cultural influence on the society. Lockheed Lounge is still seen as one of the exemplary pieces of contemporary design, strongly inspired from nature with a subtle representation of wave, a biomorphic fluid form which Newton was keen on achieving in his design. It's quite interesting how this Lockheed Lounge have been redefined over years, first as a living form like sculpture, then as an LC1 lounge chair, and finally as a Lockheed Lounge. Since the Lockheed Lounge was in making for quite long, the artist's method of approaching it was changed over a period of time. It's pretty evident that the visual elements, biomorphic asymmetrical form, natural color, deliberately created gravitated texture, speaks of the design elements adopted largely from the postmodernism art movement, whereas the experimentation with material, minimalism and simplicity from the modernist movement. Clearly, the art movement, growth of consumerism, growth of design consciousness were the strong influencing factors which would have inspired the design of the Lockheed Lounge. Lastly, the Lockheed Lounge may not have had a social political impact on society, but it did have a strong cultural influence through Madonna, which reinforced the idea of statement luxury pieces and the unconventional furniture style. The prevalence of the postmodernism style has been seen even in the 2000s, where technological advancement were at peak. Every other person had a personal cell phone, but people became more environment conscious and safety awareness grew after the terrorist attack in US. Several societal issues and stereotypes were challenged by people and even by designers like Karim Rashid. He is well known for breaking gender stereotypes to his design work by using pink color at large in his design, for which he was massively criticized. Karim Rashid, an industrial designer, believed in living in the present and making his design accessible in markets. Therefore, he used materials which are recyclable, disposable, inexpensive, and eco-friendly. He is well known as a prince of plastic, as he was the first designer to use plastic as a material and majorly works with 100% biodegradable plastic. Of his many exploration with materials and form, Karim Rashid, Globulus Chair of 2008, is well regarded by design industry for its undulating, boundless, biomorphic shape and his selective use of materials like painted fiberglass and fabric with automotive chrome paint and upholstered foam sheet. Globulus Chair was largely inspired from casualism, as it had its key characteristic of using color, combination, and balance to create a visually appealing design. The chair's mindful ergonomics played in short, comfortable sitting, and the color is creating a strong visual impact. The chair is ambiguous, lightweight, and has a dynamic feel to it. The chair was well accepted and appreciated by the people. It's pretty evident how the time, society, and postmodernism movement played a significant role in three of the designs discussed before. We could see how the visual elements like bulbousness, fluid, ambiguous, and asymmetrical form, and geometric shapes, unconventional designs are commonly inspired with the postmodernism movement. Through these design journeys, we can conclude how a designer mindfully observes, identifies his immediate surroundings, major events, society needs, and seek inspiration, learning from them to develop the visual language, purpose, and deeper meaning of the design or art piece. We learned how the design generation is followed and is incomplete without understanding the world that surrounds the user and the designer.